Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. Here we focus on what moves the needle the most. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Welcome. Our guest today is relationship coach Sarah Schweppe. She is the founder of The Relationship Shift, and she specializes in working with high-performing women who are self-aware, who are thriving in their life, but feel stuck in relationships, whether there's painful patterns or they're craving deeper connection. And she really helps them unstuck their energy, which she will talk about. But Sarah, welcome. We're so happy that you're here.
Yes, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. So before we dive in, Sarah does have a gift at the end that will help you create an emotionally available partnership without feeling like you're losing yourself. So stay tuned and we'll share that. But Sarah, you and I were talking about how you got into relationship coaching, and I thought it was such a great story. Could you fill us in about how you got into this and really what you focus on in your coaching?
Yeah. Well, so I've always been in the helping profession. My graduate degree was in social work and mental health. And then I worked in the medical field for a while and did some health coaching. And then I ran into some challenges of my own with relationship. I was married at the time and we were just very, very stuck. And I'm somebody who I've just done inner work my whole life, therapy and coaching and inner work. I've just been into it. And so I was very baffled and in a prideful kind of way, like, how can I not figure this out? I've done every dang thing there is. And just really, really confused. In 2020, I stumbled across a book called Conscious Loving by Gay and Katie Hendricks. It's an older book from the 90s. And this was 3 months before our divorce was finalized. And I, at the time, was just kind of like, I'm not reading another book. I've done all the work. I'm sick of trying, like, just had this idea about myself and how hard I was working. And so I didn't read it. And then a few months after the divorce was finalized, I just was like, well, I don't want to do that again. And got really curious about what I was missing. And I picked up that book and I read it in probably a few days and it just sort of changed everything for me. Gay and Katie are psychologists. They've been around, I don't know, probably 40 plus years. And their take on relationship was much different than even any other. I think we'd seen probably 3 couples therapists, anything that I tried. And so I went to go train with them and actually stumbled across another therapist they trained, Dr. Julie Colwell, found her work, was just very drawn to it, read her books, and was just hooked because it was like all these missing pieces that I didn't realize I was missing after all that work. And so I began working with her and then training with her and then actually working with her and her coaching program. And I haven't really turned back since. It's just been, and not even in my relationship. I actually met my fiance, my now partner, through this work. He's a coach too. And we're practicing these cool tools together. And it's like, it is my whole life. You know, it's just kind of like a way of being that has changed everything for me. And so now I'm supporting other people with bringing this work into their own relationship and lives. And that's been such a delight for me.
I'm so curious since you did rounds, different 3 couples therapists, I think you
Mhm.
said, and then you felt like there were missing pieces. What were some of those things that you felt like were missing from those to what you do now?
Yeah, I think what was missing was the body, working with the body. We
Yeah.
weren't, it was all very neck up
Mhm.
thinking and communication tools. And I don't mean to knock that because, of course, there were things that I got out of that that were helpful. And I appreciate all the teachers who have come into my life. But we weren't actually getting to the source of the problem as I see it now, which was my own stuck emotional energy in my body. That's actually what is fueling the conflict in my own life and in my relationships. And so it was sort of like band-aiding the issue, you know?
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I agree. We do this similarly in our health coaching where it's you can do the mindset work and create
Right.
like, oh, these beliefs or I'm letting this go. You can decide in your mind, but there's a body element to it.
Yes.
Absolutely. And you can't override it. It makes me curious. How do you help people tap into this? Because some people are quite disconnected even just from tuning in.
Totally.
And then, so let's start there. Like, what are some of the key elements that you'll incorporate to
Sure.
help people tap into the body
Yeah.
transformation side?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm trained in a modality called evolutionary power. And the whole idea is to begin to recognize when we're in reactive brain or the ego. Anytime we don't feel good, right? We're
Yes.
in reactive brain. And to learn how to shift out of that into your creative brain or your essence. These are Julie's terms, reactive brain and creative brain. But so one awareness of like recognizing where I'm at, and that if I'm trying to have a conversation with my partner from reactive brain, I can't solve a problem from the place it's created, right? So to recognize that. And then once I can recognize, oh, I'm in reactivity, to begin to tune into the body primarily through sensation, like to
Mm,
actually notice when I'm saying, you came home late, you don't love me, right? I'm saying something arguable. Not that maybe it's true, but that it's an arguable statement that's inviting somebody to argue with me. So
mhm,
then where nobody's in their actual feelings, to go from that to say, I notice I have this really tight heaviness in my chest and I feel really sad. I've lost connection with myself and with you. Right?
mm,
It's like, oh, there's the unarguable truth. Nobody can really argue with me that my chest is tight and I feel sad. And so there's a whole host of tools to be able to tune into what's actually unarguable,
mhm,
what I'm feeling, what my sensations are, what I want and don't want. And
mhm.
so there's different ways to do that. But I would say initially when I'm working with people, it's just to learn how do I notice a sensation? Like as I'm talking to you right now, I notice, oh, have like kind of a flutter in my stomach. I feel kind of excited. I didn't realize I wasn't doing that my whole life. I
Mm,
was just like in my thoughts and in my head. And
yeah.
so that process.
Okay. Yes, we have something similar where we call it survival state or leadership state.
Oh,
And
nice.
true, it just blocks that creativity and it's like this disconnection. And what can you create in a conversation that way?
Right.
Something that stood out to me that you specialize in is helping them shift out of patterns that are keeping people stuck. So when it comes to patterns, like I can even observe myself and be like, oh, I do this thing.
Yes.
And I'm curious, you know, when you identify something, if there's, how do you kind of unwind this?
Sure.
So it's not just Operation Repeat.
Yeah, yeah. So I think of a pattern also like a persona or a part. Are you familiar with parts work or internal family
A
systems?
little, but go ahead and go into it so whoever's
So
listening.
we all have parts. So you can think of it like part of me wants to go to the party and part of me wants to stay home. Like we can
Yes.
understand those different parts of us. So we've got all these different parts of us. And I'm going to call them personas because that's how I learned about this idea. But the persona comes in, well, let me back up. So as kids, we come in as essence, right? These bright little beautiful beings of love and joy, right? Babies. Why do we love
Mhm.
them? They're pure essence. Then over time, as life happens, the milk gets spilled, the parent yells, the bully on the playground. There are these feelings that come up, right? It's like, I feel sad, I feel scared. If we don't know how to move the energy of those feelings through our body, I didn't learn how to do that. I haven't really met anybody yet, but I'm sure that's out there. They get stuck, and this is all unconscious. We look around and say, well, what are other people doing to deal with their feelings? Oh, they're criticizing. Oh, they're controlling. Oh, they're overworking. All these different patterns that get started, and then we take those on. So it can be considered a persona. And so it's there to help us not feel something.
I love how persona detaches. It creates space between
Yeah.
like you and like this
Yeah, it's a
play almost.
yeah, yeah, it's right. It's a survival strategy to help us not feel the things that we're too scary to feel way back when.
Mm,
And it's, they help.
mm,
It's just when we get to adulthood, they can really wreak havoc on our lives. Like, why do I keep eating the carbs? My carbaholic persona might be trying to avoid some old feeling from way back when. And so the pattern disruption is not just stop eating the thing, right? Because the feelings are still there. It's actually joining with that part of you to say, "Oh, you were here to help me." It's
mm.
like a little kid, like loving a kid, seeing it, and then allowing that part of you to trust you, the adult you, to move that old energy through. And what happens when we clear out those feelings is the persona doesn't have to work so hard at its job. Oh, I don't have to eat the sugar anymore because, I mean, not saying to not eat sugar, whatever. I don't have to do the pattern that's so disruptive for me because the feelings have moved through.
Mm.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Absolutely, because you're more connected to like what you actually need, operating from just an old pattern. Like you
Right.
understand yourself better and yeah.
Yes. And I would say persona versus essence, reactive brain versus creative brain, survival versus leadership, I think you said,
Mm-hmm.
is that then when I'm not in persona, I'm in my most authentic self, where
Mm.
my own innate knowing and intuition and joy and love, they're all right there. So in relationship, when we get in conflict, it's persona to persona. How do we relate from essence to essence?
Okay. That simplifies everything. Like
Yeah.
being in like the state that you're in and how if you're operating from
Right.
your essence, like you call it.
Right. Yeah.
Juicy.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that is supportive for the deep connection piece because that was another one of your superpowers, you
Mhm.
could say was, and I think a lot of women are craving deep connection. And as men and women, we're operating differently. We are
Mhm.
different. What are some things when it comes to the deep connection piece that you'd want to share?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was married, I just wanted connection. I was saying, I want to feel connected. I want to be connected to you. But my focus was so over there on what he needed to do because my mind thought, well, I need him to do something differently so I can feel connected. And it turns out that I was actually in a persona, probably a little like the part of me that's like kind of clingy and like wanting something from them, right? That connection starts with me. That when I'm in reactive brain, when I'm in a threat response, I don't feel connected. And that's when I'm going outside of myself to look for it. So if I can remember to come back into my own body, whatever feeling is keeping me from being in my essence, to move that through, the connection is already there. Like I think of creative brain like the sun beneath the clouds. It's always shining. It's
Mm.
just that when my reactive brain kicks in, there's clouds blocking it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? And so if I can clear out the clouds, there's the connection. And then I'm coming from a place of invitation, a place that's not like demanding or needy. It's like, I want to feel connected and you get to be you over there and I get to be me. And that innate sense of connection exists
Yeah.
there.
Yes. Oh, I love shifting to invitation instead of demanding. Even when you were
Mhm.
talking about that, I could just feel my body relax. I'm like, ooh,
Mhm.
this is so inviting. I'm like, let's,
Yeah. Right? Right?
it works.
Yeah.
It works so
Yeah.
well. I'm curious, is there like a big, either it's a misconception or like a big mistake that you see, like either slowing people down and what they really want in their relationships or something that it's like, man, if people really worked on this, it would solve such, like, it would do so much good. And they think it's this. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I would say thinking that it's the other person doing something that's causing you to feel a certain way, which is I always feel scared about that because it's like it's such a common thing, you know?
And it's brutal. It's really like reflecting back on you. Let's
Yeah.
dive in. Let's rip the band-aid
Great.
a little bit.
Yes, yes. Okay, good.
What are some questions people can ask themselves to shift into this? Sometimes I'll ask, like, how am I responsible for this?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are some, I mean, this is your zone. So I want to hear from
Yeah,
you. How
okay.
do we
So
do this? You know?
yes. So I think I'm thinking of the things that were big ahas for me when I first came into this work. And one of them is this idea of unconscious commitments. So we're
Mhm.
always creating, right? We're always manifesting. And I think that we're creating from our state. So, like, if I'm in reactive brain, I'm sort of, life is responding to me in a certain way from those places of negativity. And it's not wrong or bad. It just is the way I see it. And so when we continue to get results that we don't want, we can ask ourselves, so how do we know what we're committed to? We look at the results we're getting. So
Ooh.
I know this is another one. I'm like, ooh, this is a tough one because we're really going to the unconscious. But if I'm going to the gym every day and I'm in really good shape, I'm committed to that,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm committed to. That's the result I'm getting. If I'm not going to the gym and I'm eating sugar all day long and I'm gaining weight, I'm committed to that because that's the result I'm getting. And so, especially in relationship where it's so easy to like just look at the other person and complain about them because that's
Mhm.
what my mind does. It's like, well, you're doing the thing, making me feel this way. I can say, what are the complaints that keep coming out of my mouth? Like you keep coming home late or, and wonder how I might actually be committed to creating that from an unconscious standpoint. That
Oh.
like those results are actually something that I'm requiring in my life, not because we want it, right? Like it's not a conscious creation. It's some older part of me, some young part of me that's creating this for some reason that when we actually go into the unconscious makes sense, right? It's probably something tied to perception of survival.
Mhm.
So that is That's a really big one. And sometimes I hesitate to share that because life can really look like it's happening to us. Like, no, I'm not choosing this thing. And of course, it's not conscious, but it's also one of the most empowering things because if I'm creating it, then I have the power to shift it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And it's always a couple layers deep. It's like, oh, I'm saying this because like deep down there's this, like, I really want this, you know?
Exactly. Right. And getting clear about what that real want is, like from your
Yes.
essence.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing some of that work myself and using more somatics and energetics. And there's always that top layer of like, that's not in the
Yeah.
best state. And then it's driven from a really, honestly, sometimes it's a really tender thing. It's like,
Yes, exactly.
that's what I'm wanting. Like, okay,
Yes.
there it is. Yeah.
Exactly, and being able to, like, really appreciate it, that this thing that's wreaking havoc in my life is coming from a tender place, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly, I love that.
Yeah. We, at Empire, we love elevating all aspects of our life, like health, wealth, relationships. So I'm so
Love
happy
that.
that you're here. And sometimes it can be a bit of a balancing act. And let's say somebody, like for me, I have big dreams. I'm a mom working on, building the business. I'm married. We're really great at date night. But when it's somebody who has like their bandwidth is only so much, and I feel like this is pretty much all women,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like, how is there things that, really help your relationship thrive that you see are like big needle movers, you could say?
Yeah, there's a process called SEW, it stands for Sensations, Emotions, Wants, and
Mm.
it's a
So,
reliable way to come back into connection, into flow, into creative brain when you're really willing to put it into place, to, like, go through those steps. And so for me in my relationship now, this is something we use daily, right? And when I'm feeling disconnected, I'll go through it or I'll go through it with my partner. That's a way to kind of move through all the noise of life, like all the heady things and all the stresses that this will take you into presence anytime you're willing to use it. And so
ugh,
having tools like that I think is really powerful to come back into this moment and reconnect with ourselves and each other.
yeah, such a valuable tool because it's like you could have the whole night. Maybe it's 6 to 10 p.m. You have together time. Okay, what's the quality of that time? How much of that time are you connected versus like not super connected? Or maybe you're in your head.
Right.
Who knows? And if we can maximize the quality of time, create more connection in a short period of time, oh, that's so valuable. Um,
Yes.
yeah, when we think about it, I was learning from Jesse Itzler recently, and he was talking about like how 75% of our time is kind of taken with like work life and different things. And there's that 25% that's like for us, relationships, making memories. And so it's like, man, having some frameworks like this or developing your skills in relationship, your awareness of your own patterns, shifting them can really help just that percentage that we're with our people to just be so much deeper, so much
Yeah.
quality, so much more
Yeah.
supportive. There's just so many things. I want to
Same.
give you the open floor. Like, is there anything that you really want to get across that is important for you to share?
I think probably just to reiterate what I've been saying, but to highlight it in relationship that if you're stuck and if you're seeing your partner as the enemy or you're really wanting something from them and it's not shifting, that bringing the body on board is the missing piece, that learning how to work with the body. I mean, I remember when I started to get the Hendrix emails and I'm like, what are they talking about with the body? Like, what the heck does that have to do with a relationship? No, you use I statements. I feel this when you blank, and you learn how to communicate, and you do all these things that can be helpful, but they're so surfacey because
Yes.
I see us as walking triggers that we have all this lifetime of emotions in our bodies that just got stuck, as part of being human, and that our beloved are often the one who's triggering that energy up. And
Mm,
so if we can begin to recognize that is part of sacred relationship, that when I can let go of blame and thinking it's about you, and that we've actually just pointed me to like a nugget of gold of like where my power's been stored away. And now I can move that through and be even closer to my essence, that there's a whole different way of being in relationship where
mhm.
it's supportive in that sense. And that with some really powerful tools, it's totally possible to create that deeply soul connected, passionate relationship or come back to it, you know?
Absolutely. What a beautiful relationship to feel almost, I would call it safe in your triggers.
Yes.
You said sacred
Yeah.
relationship, they're gonna pop up.
They are going to pop
Have
up.
tools to navigate them, work through them, collect the gold or,
Yes.
yes.
Reclaim all that power. I think that stuck energy is our power.
Hmm.
Like reclaim that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe, and you probably agree, that there's certain things you can only learn in relationship or only heal in relationship. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, having those.
Yeah. There's nothing quite. Oh, didn't mean to
Yeah,
cut you off.
no, you're good.
Yeah. There's nothing quite like I think the relationship
I
triggers.
know.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, we're just
Right.
together. We're imperfect
Yeah.
together. It's such a ride.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes. So, Sarah brought a gift that I want to invite you all to. So, this is a webinar, and I'll share the title, and then, Sarah, if you want to share more about it, but it's how self aware women can create emotionally available partnerships without losing themselves ever again. So, are there any
Yes.
bullet points you want to add to that?
Big claims. In this webinar, I dive deeper into, like, I talk about personas, and I cover the inner map, which is we dive a little bit deeper into reactive brain and creative brain and what is that and kind of the cognitive understanding of that. And we're playing with the place in relationship where we're caught helping and doing a lot of the things and wanting the other person to maybe show up differently or show up more. So we're talking specifically about what's happening underneath that pattern, that specific pattern. Yeah.
Oh, it's not just me. Okay, we're good.
There's one of those out there. Yeah.
Common. I see it in my clients a lot too.
Well,
So
especially for the high achievers who can
yes.
do it all and we're managing all the things and balancing all the things. Like, I think that's one of the places where we can get kind of stuck. Really want to create a different pattern.
Yes, thank you so much. So if you are on the email, it will be in the show notes. If you're watching it on Apple or listening on YouTube, like I flipped those, I will link it below. But if you want a direct link, just reply webinar and we'll get that link over to you. Sarah is also at sarahschweppe.com. If you want to dive into her resources there on Instagram at sarah.schweppe. Thank you so much for your wisdom. Is there any last things
Yeah.
to share?
No, I think I appreciate you. This has been a great conversation. I love the work you're doing and that you're supporting women like across the board.
Yeah, it's, after coaching in health for over 10 years, it's all interconnected.
Oh
Like
my
how your
gosh. Totally.
relationship is going will affect your health, how you show up for your health,
Yeah.
your hormones, the results you're able to get, how you're running your business will affect your health and relationships. Like it's all, and
Yeah.
we're done sacrificing one for the other. It's like we want them all to elevate together. So getting tools and guidance from experts like you to help us navigate relationship better and just be better leaders of ourselves. Yep,
Yeah.
we're here for it.
Love it.
Why we're talking.
Yes. Right. Yes.
So thank you everybody for being here. Go follow Sarah, go get her webinar, and we'll see you on the other side. Take care
Yes. Thanks, Jessica.
for sure.